Hi Danish learner, welcome back to my channel, Danish Matters. I'm Tina Baga, your Danish friend and tutor. In my last video, I talked about Hygge, the concept of Hygge, the concept that Denmark is so renowned for, and I thought I would just do one more video on this. This time to recommend a book that I have read on the topic in the shape of a romance novel. Yeah, I know that romance novels are not for everyone. I definitely don't read those all the time, but I do read them sometimes. Some people call them chick-lit. I prefer to call them feel good, and I sometimes need that in my life, whether it be summer or any other season. So I just wanted to recommend this book called The Little Cafe in Copenhagen by Julie Kaplan. First off, I picked this one up when I was at a bookshop in Copenhagen. Politikens Hus, which is just at the corner of Rådhuspladsen. And I saw this little table with books in English about Denmark, and this one was one of the books that were there. One of the books that was there. And I was a little curious because every time, or a lot of times when I read books, they're always translated. And I thought, okay, so this one must be translated into English this time. And I looked inside the book and I couldn't find the translator's name. For a pretty good reason, because it was not translated. It was actually written in English to begin with. And that just made me laugh a little bit, because often when I read romance novels, feel good, and they take place in another country, it's South Europe most of the time, like France or Italy, those two countries often. And it's very romantic, and you get a sense of the scenery and the beautiful nature, or the fields where the grapes grow, or, I mean, it's so romantic. A little exotic to a Dane, yeah? It could also be in Britain somewhere, this whole stone cottage, there's a whole concept of that, yeah, cottagecore. So I was just a little surprised that somewhere in the world, that is in Britain this time, someone had chosen to write a romance novel and place it in my country, in Copenhagen. And I thought, okay, so somewhere in the world that is in Britain, there is someone dreaming about this place, thinking about that this is where romance takes place, or this is the very romantic place to have a story. I've never thought of that. Of course, there must be Danish books that are romantic and take place in Denmark. I don't think I've read any of those actually, but anyway, it was just new to me that someone wanted to place a romance novel or a romance story in my country. Because you always find that in my country, I mean, that's not a place to place a story, but it was. So it says here on the cover, an irresistible combination of Danish happiness and hygge in one unputdownable story. And at the back it says, welcome to the little cafe in Copenhagen, where the smell of cinnamon fills the air, the hot chocolate is as smooth as silk, and romance is just around the corner. Publicist Kate Sinclair's life in London is everything she thought she wanted: success, glamour, and a charming boyfriend. Until that boyfriend goes behind her back and snatches a much sought after promotion from her. Heartbroken, Kate needs to escape. From candles and cozy nights into romantic late night walks through the beautiful cobbled streets of Copenhagen, Kate discovers how to live life the Danish way. Can the secrets of hygge and happiness lead her to her own happily ever after? Yeah, very romantic. I must say it's not the best romance novel or feel-good book that I have ever read, um, but it's a nice story, and it does take place in this little cafe where um, this Kate, or she calls herself Katie when she wants to like be familiar with people or people to be familiar with her. She arrives with a bunch of journalists and they're supposed to have this press trip. Um, and of course, there's all sorts of entanglements and like different things that happen that makes it very difficult for her to be sort of the leader, the manager of this trip. And of course, her management team at home in London aren't too happy about it. And of course, eventually, there's also this guy that she falls for that she wouldn't believe she would fall for to begin with. All of this, all of their known elements of a romance novel or feel-good book, yeah? So this is another way of getting to know Hygge, also happiness, as it says, the Danish way and Danish culture. There is a little description, a little scene about a bike ride. I find that a little funny because to a Dane, every Dane has a bike. Every Dane knows how to bike. We bike a lot. It's a biking city, at least Copenhagen is. It's a biking country. As a child, I was biking everywhere because obviously I couldn't ride a car. Drive a car. And so, yeah, the bike was really the tool to get anywhere. We're not so used to our parents driving us everywhere in Denmark. Somewhere, yes, but not everywhere. So if we live in a very small place, we would bike ourselves. So yeah, it's just a little funny that not everyone is actually used to biking. So that's just one little scene that I found funny. But yeah, it's a nice one. Whether it be summer or winter that you read this, it still feels good. Yeah, you can still use that regardless of the season. So I just wanted to recommend that to you. Remember that this channel is also about the Danish language, not just Danish culture. I don't know why I said that. This channel is about both, yeah, so Danish language and culture. I just had this little series of 2 about Hygge, so Danish culture. There will be other videos on Danish culture. There are some that I made also about weddings and such. That's also Danish culture. But of course, I'll also be talking about the language here and there. So it's a mix, yeah? So don't skip the channel if you are looking for language videos. I will make those as well. And of course, if you would like a Danish course with me, you can write to tina@danishmatters.dk. I just got left to say, although this was about culture, happy Danish learning!